economy, governance, sports, entertainment
to international news, we spread our dragnet to deliver at your doorstep. OGTV News, the cutting edge in 21st century news broadcast.
A warm welcome to you. It's so good to have you join us on OGTV Comprehensive News Package for the day. I am Opeyemi Adeomi. First, the highlights in today's bulletin. President Tinubu reaffirms commitment to education, youth empowerment. Federal government has Supreme Court to dismiss suits seeking declaration of EFCC as illegal. And in Ogun State, Governor Abeokuta receives commendation for addressing the plight of Ogun workforce. And on the foreign scene, UK releases another 1,000 prisoners to ease overcrowding.
Coming up on the business segment of the news, World Bank says Nigeria loses 13 trillion naira to forex subsidy. Do join me later for more details on the business segment of the news. I am Adibola Oshomuji.
And on sports news tonight, Glasgow confirmed as host of 2026 Commonwealth Games. I'll be back with the details and more updates from the world of sport. I am Sheyi Halao Tongawe.
The only one who can tell you you cannot win is you, and you don't have to listen. Not to forget that you can watch us on Facebook at Ogun TV and Ogun State Television, on YouTube at OGTV Abeokuta, and on OGTV website www.ogtv.com.ng/live. And for the latest news and reports, check us on this platform, X at Ogun TV, on Instagram at Ogun State Television, or download OGTV app on Apple Store and Google Play Store. And now to the details of the news. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reiterated the resolve of the federal government to continue to promote education and youth empowerment. The president, who was represented by the Minister of State for Education, Malam Yusuf Sununu, spoke at the 39th convocation ceremony of the University of Ilorin. He highlighted the federal government's resolve to improving the educational system and fostering youth engagement in nation building. Tinubu emphasized the importance of education in shaping Nigerians' future and the role of young graduates in addressing the nation's challenges. He congratulated the graduates for their academic achievements and urged them to be proactive in contributing to the country's development. The president acknowledged the current economic and security challenges facing the country, but expressed optimism in the nation's resilience. He called on the youths to take on leadership roles, leveraging their intelligence, courage, and integrity to overcome Nigerians' challenges. Tinubu highlighted the federal government's initiative to support students and educational institutions, such as the disbursement of student loans, and encouraged the students to take advantage of the scheme. The advent of artificial intelligence in the education sector has been described as an advantage to aid the learning process of students. In this special report, respondents who spoke with OGTV News crew on the advantages and disadvantages of artificial intelligence in education submitted that learners should not erase the aspect of human efforts in learning process. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi has more in this package.
The invention of artificial intelligence is no doubt a globally accepted one, which enables technical systems to perceive their environment, deal with what they perceive, solve problems, and act to achieve a specific goal. To some, artificial intelligence has formed part of their daily activities, from learning and acting in such a way that would normally require human intelligence.
It's a large database for us. We've been enjoying it. It cut across so many things that we are doing. In fact, in a day, I use ChatGPT like it's like food for me. Do you understand? Because it solves many problems. Artificial intelligence has come to stay, and it's in fact we can't do without it.
One of the importance of artificial intelligence is the speedy, flawless, and accurate response to providing answers to problems. This seems useful, but respondents believe it poses a serious threat to learning abilities of learners.
When you look at the intelligence properly, you will observe that it has revolutionized the education sector. But when you look at these days, students no longer read because they will not read when they know that with the press of a button, they can easily get answers to the assignment given to them to home easily through artificial intelligence. So it has caused another laziness for learners entirely.
To me, I see it as a blessing. Even though we may say that the student will not be able to learn about the rudiments of what leads to such things. But again, with the technology coming up rapidly, you have to join those technological developments.
Respondents believe that if learners should make positive and maximum use of artificial intelligence in the education sector, research works would receive a boost, which will in turn contribute to the development of the nation.
They should try and balance it. They should try, when they are, as much as they are using artificial intelligence, they should try to read textbooks, they should try to read journals, they should try to read daily papers, watch and listen to news, so that they will know what is going on around them.
For AI, food is ready. But for you as a growing scholar, and if you want to be scholarly with what you have to do, you can't take that as food is ready. By the extent of what AI has got, that is food is ready. But it's a raw material for you, not the final product that you are going to place before your lecturer or your teacher and say, yes, this is my response, my answer to your question.
They therefore call for adequate regulation of artificial intelligence in learning process so as not to erase totally human efforts for the purpose of breeding scholars with natural intelligence. Ayodeji Tomori Oluwumi, OGTV News.
Still on education, the House of Representatives Committee on Defense says it will ensure effective utilization of resources allocated to military colleges and institutions. The institutions are the Nigerian Defense Academy, Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, and the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Jaji. The chairman of the committee, Babajimi Benson, said this in Kaduna on the sidelines of an oversight visit to the institutes as the 2025 budget cycle approaches. He said that funds allocated to the institutes must add value in upgrading, training facilities, procurement of advanced equipment, and research and development initiatives. Benson underscored the imperative of the agencies to uphold the highest standard of transparency and accountability in their operations. According to him, the National Assembly will provide sound legislation to strengthen Nigeria's defense sector by ensuring effective utilization of funds. He said the visit was an important part of the process and expressed readiness to work closely to ensure that armed forces were fully equipped to face the challenges ahead. And moving away from that story, the Supreme Court has reserved judgment in the suit filed by 16 states challenging the constitutionality of the laws establishing the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and 2 other agencies. According to the Supreme Court, the date for the judgment will be communicated to the parties. During the resumed hearing, Imo, Bauchi and Osun states joined the suit as co-plaintiffs, while Anambra, Ebonyi and Adamawa states withdrew their cases, which were subsequently struck out by the court. The Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, representing the defendant, requested the court's permission to submit a process filed earlier. Justice Uwani Abaji granted leave for the defendant to use the reply on point of law. Meanwhile, the federal government has asked the Supreme Court to dismiss a suit that 19 states of the Federation filed to declare operations of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission illegal. The federal government, which was represented by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, challenged the competence of the suit, which he described as a threat to the ongoing fight against corruption and financial crimes in the country. The AGF drew the attention of the Apex Court to a preliminary objection and counter affidavit that the federal government filed on October 18 to query the legal propriety of the suit. He maintained that contrary to the contention of the states, the EFCC was validly established in line with the provision of Section 15, subsection 5 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. Fagbemi equally refuted the claims of the plaintiff that the act that established the EFCC was an offshoot of an international convention that was not properly domesticated in Nigeria. The federal government's objection came on a day that 3 states of the Federation pulled out of the legal action. In another development, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission Chairman Ola Olukoyede has warned that cybercrime poses grave dangers globally and nationally, urging collective action. The EFCC boss made the call at the opening ceremony of the Commission's National Cybercrime Summit at the State House Conference Center, Abuja, emphasizing the devastating impact of cybercrimes on Nigerian youth, eroding traditional values and promoting get-rich-quick mentality. Speaking at the summit with the team, Alternatives to Cybercrime, Optimizing Cyber Skills for National Development, Olukoyede noted that global cybercrime losses have been projected to reach $10.5 trillion, ranking it the world's 3rd largest economy with approximately 2,328 daily cases. It said Nigerians have suffered significantly, losing over $500 million to cybercrime in 2022, even as the EFCC recorded 3,455 convictions in the past year, with a substantial portion attributed to cybercrime. Olukoyede also said the Commission recovers significant assets for local and foreign victims. He addressed concerns about the EFCC's focus on internet crime, reaffirming cybercrime's threats to Nigerians' reputation, economic well-being, and key assets. The EFCC chairman stressed the importance of engaging state governors in tackling cybercrimes at all levels. A federal high court sitting in Kano has sacked the chairman of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission, Professor Sani Mulumfashi, for being card-carrying member of the ruling New Nigerians People Party. The case was filed by Aminu Tiga and the All Progressives Congress. The defendants in the suit are the State Attorney General and Commissioner of Justice, Aruna Dideri. Delivering judgment, Justice S.A. Amobede also held that Kabil Sakira, the Secretary of the Commission, was not a civil servant and therefore not an officer in the Kano State Civil Service. The judge held that Zakira was not qualified to be appointed to the position pursuant to Section 14 of the Kano State Independent Electoral Commission Law 2001. He then directed the police and other security agencies to forthwith ensure full compliance with the provisions of Section 197, Section 1, Subsection B, 199, Section 2, and 200, Section 1, Subsection A of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. In accordance with the policy thrust of the administration of Prince Dapo Abiodun, allowing an inclusive participation of citizens in the state's budget, the year 2025 budget town hall meetings will commence in Ijebu Division on Wednesday, 23rd October 2024 at Bis Road Hotel, Ijebu-Odi. According to a statement by the Ogun State Ministry of Budget and Planning, the remote town hall meeting comes up on Thursday, 24th October at the Akarigo Palace, Shagamu, while Yewa Division Town Hall meeting holds on Tuesday, 29th October at Frontier Hotel, Ilaro. This will be followed by Egba Division Town Hall meeting on Thursday, 31st October at the June 12 Cultural Center, Kuto, Abeokuta. Participants and representatives of various interest groups in the various zones, such as trade and market associations, professional bodies, civil societies, traditional, religious and political associations, student unions and others are expected to be in attendance. Still in Ogun State, the Ogun State Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun, has been honored for the commitment of his administration towards ameliorating the plight of the state workforce. The Association of Retired Heads of Service and Permanent Secretaries, Ogun State, at its 25th anniversary and 2024 annual general meeting, also gave meritorious distinguished awards to its members. Fowora Adesowo reports that Engineer Adeniyi Abiola-led executive was also returned to run the affairs of the body till 2026. His reports.
Another honor for the Governor of Ogun State, Prince Dapo Abiodun, for being workers friendly by restoring the payment of gratuity of workers which past administration had left unpaid for 6 years, and regular payments of pensions, dues and salaries.
This project, we received a very handsome donation from the state government. I don't want to mention the figure, but it was very handsome. Without that donation, we would not have been able to get to this stage. It pays our pension regularly as at when due. So we are thanking the state government for that.
At the event which marked the 25th anniversary of the Association of Retired Heads of Service and Permanent Secretaries Ogun State, the Heads of Service, Mr. Kehinde Onosoya represented and received the award on behalf of the Governor, Prince Dapo Abiodun. Mr. Kehinde Onosoya said Ogun State Civil Service had a robust template which has been the envy of all. The Head of Service reiterated the commitment of Prince Dapo Abiodun's administration to promoting a strong and fruitful partnership with the Association of Retired Heads of Service and Permanent Secretaries in Ogun State.
Suffice to say that the Deputation and Service Organization have done the bedrock upon which much of the services of government of the state and public administration have been built.
The chairman of the body, Engineer Adeniyi Abiola, said the body is committed to the welfare of its members, the civil servants, and the people of Ogun State.
I want to make the place something like the Chatham House, which provides authority for people who are in governance, so that anybody who wants to govern this state will be invited there to give us this our program, and we shall consider it and give our own opinion.
After a successful annual general meeting, Engineer Adeniyi Abiola led executive members were re-elected and sworn in by Barrister Olu Okuboyejo, who had earlier received award alongside Otunba Babatunde Oshokoya, Princess Iyabo Odulate, Pastor Oye Oshitelu, while late Chief A.A.K. Degun, Chief T.A. Taiwo, Engineer Philip Okedara, and Chief Pokola had received posthumous awards. Some of the award recipients speak.
I'm happy to be here today to receive this award personally. It is not all the time that you think you have done your best, that people will see you doing it.
I believe that governance when you call yourself a civil servant, you are the NGO of the government. And in order to continue to keep on that legacy, experience that we garner all over the years, in order to pass it on to oncoming generation.
The Association of Retired Heads of Service and Permanent Secretaries Ogun State provides a forum for social interaction among its members with moral and material supports, as well as offering advice from time to time to government on matters affecting the quality of the civil service. Adefowora Adesanwo, OGTV News.
And still to come on the news, federal government investigating Gulf of Guinea as a major route for arms trafficking. More news and reports after this break. Do stay with us. Glad to know you're still there watching. This is OGTV Comprehensive News for the day. The Ogun State House of Assembly has called on the leadership of the transport unions in the state to find a way of accommodating all its members in all its ticketing operations and conduct themselves in a manner that will continue to promote peace and tranquility in this state. The Assembly Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, said this during a tripartite meeting between the leadership of NURTW and the officials of the Ministry of Transportation, led by the Commissioner, Engineer Olubenga Dairo, at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta. Correspondent Kolawole Osho covered the meeting. Details of his report are presented in this package.
The Majority Leader, Honorable Yusuf Sharif, with other lawmakers at a tripartite meeting with the executives of NURTW and officials of the Ministry of Transportation, led by the Commissioner, Engineer Olubenga Dairo, cautioned the unions to avoid any act that could threaten peace in the various parks and garages across the state.
The most important thing about our own job here is that we want to protect the lives of our people. I want to find that play union. How many people that is our major concern too. Because when people fight, a lot of things will happen. And we don't want any issue in the field. The state is known to be a very peaceful state, and we are a very peaceful state. We want to maintain that.
Other lawmakers urged the leadership to always accommodate their members, noting that the alleged threat to peace by some members of the unions in Ijebu-Ode must be immediately addressed. In his submission, the Commissioner for Transportation, Engineer Olubenga Dairo, stated that government was not interested in micromanaging the unions. Rather, the unions should manage their affairs themselves, pointing out that the concern of government was to prevent exploitative tendencies that might arise from their activities.
From the government side, we have an established leadership, but we will step in. We will see that the activities are likely to begin to put the safety and security of members of the public at risk. We said in our statement that if we speak out beyond what's unwanted, the activities will be curtailed. And it's not a threat, it's a promise that that's exactly what happened. So if I want to say something else today, that people should go back, go and look in once, and join you to ensure that we maintain order, peace.
He warned that government will step in immediately it discovers that the union's activities are threatening the peace of the state. Meanwhile, the Joint House Committee sitting on the petition on the alleged illegal sale, occupation of Lomiro Farm Plantation has invited the management of the State Ministry of Agriculture and one Mr. Ayoshotiri of SAO Agro Limited to appear before it on Tuesday, October 29, 2024, for further engagement. The invitation was jointly issued by the Chairman, House Committee on Public Account and Anti-Corruption, Honorable Damilare Bello, and his agriculture counterpart, Honorable Walu Owode, at the Assembly Complex, Okemoson, Abeokuta.
The Special Task Force set up by the Ogun State Government for transportation, unfair control and monitoring of unethical practice at filling stations through the Ministry of Transportation has continued its visits to motor parks in Mowe, Berger and other areas. The commuters and the transport workers confirmed that the increase in transport fare is still within the manageable range given the current price of fuel, while appreciating the management of the motor parks and Ogun State Government for putting the people into consideration. Matthew Shomi, who was part of the exercise, completes the report.
The work of this Special Task Force on Transport Fare Control and monitoring of unethical practice at filling stations could not have been more critical in ensuring fair deal at this time that both the commuters and motorists try to cope with the harsh reality brought about by the astronomical increase in the fuel price. This much was revealed as the task force continued its monitoring exercise, starting with a visit to Mowe Motor Park.
So I go pay our it will be 1,200 and go to 1,000. If I put in 800.
Our charges have not really gone up.
It will be a situation of 2,000 matching the price to I don't matching.
But as at last 2 months, 2,000 naira. Now, currently now 2,500. So it has not been easy.
The motorists in motor parks around Berger explained that despite the fuel situation and other challenges being faced on the road, the transport fares have only marginally increased while the ticket charges remain the same.
We have only marginally increased our fares. Despite the challenges we face, we failed.
40,000. 42,000.
We have only marginally increased our fares. Despite the challenges we face, we failed, and other aspects of vehicle maintenance.
5,000, 17,000.
The commuters corroborated the views expressed by the drivers and asked that something should be done to reduce the burden on the motorists.
Transport fare was 1,500. So right now we're taking it for 2,000, and I think there's no much difference between that, and it's still fair compared to the petrol fuel.
The task force will still visit other motor parks in Ogun Central. Matthew Shomi, OGTV News.
Moving on to more national stories, the National Security Advisor Malam Nuhu Ribadu says the federal government is investigating Gulf of Guinea as a major route for arms trafficking into Nigeria. Ribadu made this known at a two-day seminar on climate change and the changing dynamics of arms proliferation and insecurity in the Gulf of Guinea, Nigeria in perspective in Abuja. Ribadu was represented by the Director of External Affairs Office of the National Security Advisor, Ibrahim Babani. He said the Gulf of Guinea had abundant natural resources and underground mineral deposits boasting of an estimated 24 billion barrels of crude oil reserve, contributing roughly 4 million barrels daily to global crude chain. According to him, the region constitutes of 16 countries, including Nigeria, spread along its roughly 6,000 kilometers of unbroken coastline. The NSA said there was need for additional interrogation of the nexus between climate change, armed violence, and the proliferation of arms within the countries of the Gulf of Guinea. The House of Representatives has resolved to summon the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and the Director General of the Department of State Service, Oluwatosin Ajayi, along with the FCT Commissioner of Police, Peter Opara, and other security stakeholders to address the worsening security situation in Abuja. The decision followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance moved by Aruna Dabo during plenary session. Daba's motion focused on the resurgence of one-chance robberies, which led to the tragic death of his legislative aide Nima Sulaiman. Sulaiman was aborted by unidentified gunmen on Thursday, October 17, 2024 in Abuja. Despite her captors collecting a ransom of 1 million naira, they stabbed her and she later succumbed to her injuries. While presenting his motion, Dabo lamented the increasing rates of kidnappings and robberies in the FCT, noting that both suburban and central areas of the capital city have become unsafe. He expressed concerns over the rising incidence of adoption by one-chance taxi operators, especially in unregistered and unpainted vehicles, which have worsened the security situation. The United Kingdom government, through its Home Office International Operations, says its collaboration with Nigeria on the fight against substance abuse and illicit drug trafficking is yielding positive results. Head of UK Home Office International Operations Victoria Pullen stated this when she led her colleague Christopher Oxfield on a visit to the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency headquarters in Abuja. Speaking during the visit, Pullen said results are as evidenced by the streak of successes being recorded by the NDLEA in recent times. She thanked the NDLEA chairman, retired Brigadier General Buba Mawa, for excellent cooperation. Pullen said the issue of drug trafficking is a huge global issue, and like many big challenges such as drug trafficking, it takes a huge global effort to try and counter that. In his response, Mawa expressed appreciation to the UK government for supporting Nigerians' efforts to curb the scourge of illicit drug trafficking. Following the planned reintroduction of 5% excise duty by the federal government on telecommunications services, gaming and betting activities as part of a new bill to overhaul Nigeria's tax framework, Nigerians in their respective opinions have reacted to the plan with the analysis on how the move could significantly put more burden on the populace, putting the current economic situation into consideration. Olaide Oloye has more in this report.
The federal government has reproposed a 5% excise duty on telecommunication services, gaming and betting activities as part of a new bill to overhaul Nigeria's tax framework. Following the suspension in 2023, the reintroduction was aimed at alleviating the negative impact of tax hikes on the businesses. The bill, titled A Bill for an Act to repeal certain acts on taxation and consolidate the legal frameworks relating to taxation and amend the Nigerian Tax Act to provide for taxation of income, transactions and instruments. According to the analysis of some cross-section of Nigerians, the federal government's plan will not only put a burden on the populace, but also result to loss of income and jobs.
Economic activities of the nation determines the kind of policies that will be in place. Though at the long run, it may have a positive effect, but to me at this stage of our struggle as a nation, it's becoming too much. You are battling with the petroleum sector, to power sector, then going to telecommunications.
I believe that government should now look for ways of ensuring that 5% reintroduction, there is a way government can ameliorate it by putting in some other measures to cushion the effect, because I must confess to you, people are really suffering.
A quantity surveyor, Ayuade Shoronke, implores the government to look into another possible means of generating more money than introducing the 5% tax, as the public will eventually bear the cost.
I think there is more that the federal government needs to look at, because whether we like it or not, whatever the federal government is charging these guys, they will still bring it back to the people. I'm not saying that the telecoms are not charging fairly. I'm only saying that the federal government or the regulatory agency should do beyond just bringing back these charges. Let's look at the books. Let's be sure that these guys are not making, outrageous profits. more than what they are supposed to make from the system. Because if they are making such profit, it will be better for you to get more money from them than push such charges back to the people.
They are also of the opinion that the federal government should look into the income of the populace and the current situation of the country before the implementation.
We know the government needs revenue, but the little we have been able to make over time, have we justifiably made use of these things? That's why Nigerians are complaining. We know that the government needs money. We know that the country needs money. But then, the ones we have been getting, the loans we have been getting, the subventions we have been getting, you will find out at the end of the day that all this, a huge amount of it, a huge percentage of this money goes into wastages, goes into cost of governance, which Nigerians have been complaining, bring down, and we are not seeing that coming. So why tax us more?
However, Nigerians plead to the federal government to suspend the implementation and work on the hardship being experienced in the country for the betterment of the nation. Olaide Oloye.
The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, has set up a forensic investigative committee to address the incessant grid collapses. Adelabo worried at the disturbance on the national grid, which threw some sections of the country into darkness twice within the past week. Summoned the leadership of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission and the Transmission Company of Nigeria to an emergency meeting at the weekend. The minister expressed displeasure at the incident, which he said was capable of rubbishing the giant stride made in the last 1 year, which has led to an increased generation and distribution of 5,527 megawatts, a record generation in 3 years. Adelabo also constituted a forensic investigation committee with a mandate to advise the government on necessary solutions to make the national grid robust and reliable, in addition to the ongoing efforts of the government like the Presidential Power Initiatives and the Nigerian Electricity Transmission Project. The committee is also to establish the root cause of both incidents, especially a review of potential sabotage on the system. A total of 805 operatives of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ogun State Command, recently promoted by the Civil Defense Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board, have been decorated with their new ranks with a charge to reciprocate the elevation by discharging their duties without blemish. At the occasion, the Cattle Guard of the Civil Defense Corps at the State Command Headquarters was inaugurated for operational use. The two-in-one event was held at the Command's Headquarters, Kopakwe Road, Abeokuta. Ikem Ago completes the reports.
A new horizon for officers and men of Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ogun State Command, as those recently promoted were decorated with their new ranks. A moment to be proud of, as this signal career progression in their quest to continue to serve the nation diligently by protecting critical infrastructure against vandalism in line with their constitutional responsibility. Addressing the newly decorated officers, the State Commandant, Assistant Commander General David Ojelabi, tasked them on the need to redouble their efforts and justify their elevation, being more security conscious against undesirable elements in the society.
We have demonstrated exceptional leadership, strategic thinking, and of course, an unwavering commitment to values here in the law. Today, we honor the achievements and exemplary service they have rendered.
Ogun State Governor Prince Abeokuta, represented by the Special Advisor on Security, Assistant Inspector General Olushola Subar, retired, saluted the gallantry commitment of officers and the men of the Corps in service to the nation and urged them to sustain the tempo by updating their operations in line with technology-driven dynamism.
We have to exhibit professionalism now. They need to develop themselves also, because with this new promotion is more responsibilities.
The newly promoted officers highlighted their vision
for the tax ahead.
I will use it judiciously. I will use it according to the training that I obtained.
Promotion motivates someone. So this promotion really motivates me. It will motivate me to do so many things that I have not even done before that I will continue doing.
A well-structured quarter guard to enhance operations at the command headquarters was also inaugurated, a reflection of the command's preparedness in fulfilling its constitutional responsibilities to the people of Ogun State and Nigeria at large. Nkem Agu, OGTV News.
Up next is business news with Adebola Oshomoji. Do stay with us. And glad to have you on the business segment of the news. The federal government incurred a significant loss of 13.2 trillion naira in foregone revenue as a direct consequence of the implementation of its foreign exchange subsidy policy between 2021 and 2023, the World Bank has stated. It said the government lost 2 trillion naira in 2021, 6.2 trillion naira in 2022, and 5 trillion naira in 2023. The amount forgone in revenue was due to its intents on regulating the value of the naira against the dollar in the official exchange market, but allowing a fair market value price at the parallel market. The subsidy designed to stabilize the currency and support certain sectors ultimately led to significant reductions in the government revenue streams during the period. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, has projected Nigeria's economy to expand by 3.2% in the coming year 2025, while inflation is estimated to drop to 25% in the same year. The fund, in its recently published World Economic Outlook, projected global economic growth in 2025 to remain unchanged at 3.2% from 2024. The projection for the global economy represents a decline of 0.1% from the fund's earlier projection in July 2024. For Nigeria, the IMF's recent GDP growth projection for 2025 represents a 0.2% increase from its earlier projection in July of this year. According to the fund, GDP growth in 2024 will stay at 2.9%, a downgrade compared to its projection in July of this year. The naira has appreciated to 1,715 naira per dollar in the parallel market from 1,725 naira per dollar last weekend. However, the naira yesterday depreciated to 1,603.16 naira per dollar in the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, NAFEM. Data from FMDQ showed that the indicative exchange rate for NAFEM fell to 1,603.16 trillion naira per dollar from 1,600.78 naira per dollar last week Friday, indicating 2.38 naira depreciation from the naira. The volume of dollars traded turnover in the official market grew by 2.4% to $359.22 million from $350.72 million traded last weekend. The federal government has revealed an ambitious plan to increase Nigeria's crude oil production by 1 million barrels per day within the next 12 to 24 months. This strategy aims to tackle the key challenges in the sector, such as oil theft, pipeline vandalism, outdated infrastructure, and attracting investment. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, NUPRC, reported a dip in production from 1.571 million barrels per day in August to 1.544 million in September, representing a 1.68% decline. Despite this, the government's new initiative promises to drive production back up through a series of targeted interventions. Speaking at the launch, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation,
Senator George Akume emphasized that increasing oil production is key to boosting national revenue and accelerating economic development. Still on the business news, the federal government has announced plans to review compensation rate for crops and economic trees aimed at ensuring fairness for landowners impacted by infrastructure projects. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, revealed this at the 2024 National Technical Development Forum on Land Administration in Abuja, themed Review of Compensation Rate on Crops and Economic Trees for Project-Affected Persons in Nigeria. Dangiwa emphasized the need for the review, noting that the current compensation rate established in 2008 are outdated and fail to align with present economic conditions or international standards. And that ends the business segment of the news. Over to Okpayemi for the rest of our news.